What is going on? Welcome to today's training on how to build a six-figure office cleaning business that runs by itself. Okay, I'm going to break this down in great detail. This is going to be a different video than usual. Okay, I'm not only going to cover that, but I'm also going to cover how an office cleaning business can make six figures without you actually doing any cleaning. The secret system that keeps this business running on its own. How do we do that? How do we pull that off? And do you need a huge investment to start? Which most businesses, you need a ton of money, okay? You need tens of thousands of dollars if you actually want to be successful. And realistically, you can't even expect profit inside of the first 1 to 2 years, okay? I'm going to show you why none of that happens to be the case with this type of business for you to have full confidence that this could be something you can do. And just so you know, why should you even listen to me? I built this thing twice, okay, in two separate states, 6 figures and 7 figures, okay? And I also wrote the Amazon bestseller, Pick Up Cash, Not Trash. I'm done talking. Let's get into it. Starting with the system that makes this business run without you, okay? So how do we, like this idea, right? I mean, we're in this age where everyone's just talking about simple business. Every business is simple. I mean, everything's easy. It's a lot of nonsense out there, right? And I'm always careful because I do believe this is a simple business, but I'm always careful to not basically attract the wrong people to this. Like, make no mistake, there is work. So if you're afraid of work, like this isn't your video, you know what I mean? Go try, flipping NFTs if that's still a thing. This is going to take some work. But once it's set up, because the model is very simple, which is get clients, get cleaners, rinse and repeat. Since the model is that simple, okay, it is very, very easy-esque to automate, all right? So how do we do it? First things first, what makes this cleaning business different is its offices. Offices tend to be bigger. They're going to pay more, okay? If you were doing some type of other cleaning like house cleaning or anything like that, I mean, the average house cleaning job is going to be around, and maybe even a bigger city, maybe $300-400, which I think that's very generous. And, it's very personal. You're going to be in people's houses, and you're going to need a lot of customers to ultimately get to where you want to go. Not to mention, there is, some up and downs in terms of the consistency of these customers coming back. So why do we pick offices then? Like I said, they're bigger. They pay on time. They pay you ahead of schedule. And you're able to be, in a place where you're constantly, your revenue is predictable. Okay, so that's why we pick offices, and specifically, we focus on high value offices. So not, a $500 office, $700 a month office. Instead, we're only to pull this model off, to make this thing as simple as possible. We just want to target customers who can afford anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 per month. That is a sweet spot. I mean, I've had much bigger clients. My biggest contract ever was $42,000. Highly do not recommend that, which I could talk about later. But the sweet spot is $3,000 to $6,000 because it's perfect for absolute beginners. And I guarantee you, unless you live on a farm in the middle of nowhere, these offices exist everywhere. All right. So, now building a predictable revenue with long-term commercial clients. I mean, I just touched on that. This is going to make it possible because when you sign up one of these customers, it's a business, okay? They have to have these offices cleaned. It's part of their reputation. It's part of how much money they get to earn. So it's something they don't want to play games with. So they're going to hire your company, okay? And you're going to send cleaners there, and which I'll talk about that in a minute, but this makes it very predictable because they're going to sign 1-year contracts. Okay, now we're going to set up a simple repeatable systems for scheduling, billing, and client communication. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but essentially this all could be done with just a handful of software. One is just for billing your customers. The other one is for communication with your team. And the other one is for invoicing. Okay. So, I'm actually in the process right now of building my very own software to put all these things in one, just so you don't have to sign up to a bunch of things. But again, I could talk about that later. Comment below if you want more information just in general on software. All right, so that's the first part. Okay, so we're gonna rely on some software. We are going to rely on these office contracts because they're so reliable, and that sets the foundation for automation. All right. Now the next thing is, delegation and building a reliable team. So to really pull this off, you're gonna want to bring in some great people. Now a lot of people make the mistake of, I need to find great cleaners. I need to find great cleaners. And I would say you don't. You need to find great people, and showing them how to clean a general office, which I can show you how. It's very simple. Showing how to clean a general office is super simple. Okay. It's just wiping down desks, emptying trash liners, cleaning some glass, the floors. It's not complicated. Okay. So finding good people is actually really easy when you know what you're looking for, but it's a foundational piece of this business. All right. So, as far as where to find them, I have other videos on that. So I really want to keep this video more of like a higher level thing, but essentially it's super simple. You go on to a site like Indeed, just put a job post up and people will apply. You just got to know who you're talking to. Again, I want to keep this video just on this, but I will make other videos to cover these specific questions. So if you have questions, drop them below. Let's keep this training going. The next thing is, just having a system in place to get these cleaners just trained up and have good communication. Again, I started with no experience at all. I started with a franchise, and I was expecting when I got into the franchise for there to be so much training involved. And in reality, there was nothing like it. They sent me to another location with another franchisee to shadow him clean 2 locations. And that was it. Like, think about that. Just 2 locations, couldn't have been more than an hour, and they were like, all right, you're ready to go. Again, we of course we want to do good work, but it's not rocket science. That's the whole point. It's not rocket science. So if that's something that's remotely overwhelming, don't worry about that. Now, something that you don't need right now, but one manager is going to oversee the operation up to $12,000 per month. So let's say you're targeting the $3,000 to $6,000 client range, right? Let's say you want to get to 25,000 because at 25,000, you're going to be pulling in a lot of money for yourself, like a lot of money. Okay. How do you make sure you don't get kind of brought into that a little bit more? Like, how do you make sure you're not the one checking on cleaners? You're not the one, if somebody calls out, how do we make sure you're not doing the cleaning? Well, that one manager, okay, is going to help you do that. Just one hire, one former cleaner turned manager is going to insulate you from doing any cleaning, okay? This is how we're able to keep this model super simple. And the cool thing is you're not going to hire someone from outside. That's what most people do. Instead, you're going to hire someone internally. Really good stuff, I'm telling you. The next thing is, so the passive management. Again, how do we make sure it's not the job? Well, I just covered that with that one manager spot. The other thing is, as long as you are committed to just making this a cash flowing asset, and you're not thinking about this in terms of, oh, I love cleaning, this is going to be fun, I'm just going to go out there and clean. I did a lot of cleaning myself. I'm not going to say I wish I didn't, but it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. In reality, the best thing you can do, not just for yourself, but also your community, is be a CEO. Treat this business as an asset, okay? And why I say it's good for your community is ultimately you're going to hire great people. You're going to create some really good jobs. I mean, sometimes I get this objection with people. It's like, oh man, this is like, you're just like using other people's labor. It's like, what? Are you insane? Throughout all my teens and my very early 20s, like I used to clean for other companies, and it was the best. Because think about this for a second. You have a 9 to 5, and let's say you're doing okay financially, but let's say maybe you overextended on your car, or maybe you want to help anyone. You want to help the family out. A nighttime cleaning job where you can make an extra $500 to $1,000, possibly even more, just for a few hours a night, and you get to go to a location where nobody is. Put your headphones on and just get to work doing some simple cleaning. yeah, that's hardly taking advantage of anyone. If anything, it's a phenomenal job, phenomenal for me, because I'm not the most extroverted person, especially back then. Back then, I was really introverted. And the idea of working at like a Target or a Walmart and be customer facing, that was what I didn't want. Okay. So these are great jobs for people. And the best thing you can do is get out of their way, create some good jobs for people. All right. So this is essentially the system. It's automation, delegation, and just real passive management. Okay. Let's get into the next phase of this. It's like, okay, how do we scale this without getting stuck in the operations? All right. So we're going to be focusing on fewer clients, like I mentioned. You got to think about it like this. Let's say the goal was to get to $1. Let's just use money as an example. The goal is to get to $1. Now, we can get there in many ways. Okay. We can stack 100 pennies. Okay. 20 nickels, 10 dimes, or 4 quarters. Which, like, if your business was, like your path to getting to the dollar, and that dollar meant financial freedom for you, that meant your goals and everything, the dreams, everything's coming true. How would you like to get there? Would you prefer to get there with and let's say the coins represented how you ran your business. Would you like to get there with 100 pennies? Or would you more be interested in 10 dimes or 4 quarters? What I'm saying is most people want to make $10,000 per month, okay? And what most people don't realize is a lot of those businesses that they're chasing are so complicated. Okay, and I learned that lesson too, having invested over $100,000 plus into multiple businesses, mostly online businesses, and one after the next tanked. And because they tanked because the model is complicated. I mean, you can get so much right. You can get 80% of the business right, and if 20% of it's off, your e-commerce store is not going to be good. You know what I mean? Your coaching business will fail. Whatever you have, like, that's what my experience. I'm like, wow, these businesses can be great for sure, and people do succeed with them, but by and large, most people don't. Models like this are so much simpler because you can wrap your mind around it. You don't got to be a tech wizard, okay? So back, so I hope that makes sense to you. So the reason why this is able to scale pretty fast is you're targeting less contracts, paying more. Now, it doesn't have to be quarter in the truest sense of like a $25,000 office. It doesn't have to be that, but if you were stacking $5,000 on average offices, and let's say, in the first 8 to 12 months, let's say you took this at a nice pace, and let's say all you were able to do is 5 to 6 offices. Well, if you did let's say 6 offices, that'd be $30,000 a month in recurring revenue. Think about that. And all you would be paying for is just your cleaning crew. You would just be paying your cleaners, of course, supplies, taxes, but other than that, I mean, that's profit. Okay, this is a very high profit business. All right, so, and imagine all you had to think about was just 5 customers. Just make sure 5 people are happy. You have one manager to make 5 people happy. See what I'm saying? When you set it up correctly, it's magical. I'll say that. All right. So how do we get these customers? Because there's a hot button thing of like, okay, I'm new. Aren't they going to know I'm new? And the answer is not necessarily. Like if you go towards these customers, like I'm not going to BS you. Like if you come off the streets with some bags and some rags and a logo that you made for yourself on Canva.com, it's like a $5 logo, then yeah, you're going to have a hard time getting these customers. Or if you're just cold calling and you're learning, you're not really, really good at it. If you're good at it, you got a better shot for sure. But most people aren't. Let's be real, myself included. And I've had a lot of practice, but it's a skill that takes time, and you got to overcome a lot of objections, a lot of a lot of defeat, a lot of negativity. It's a lot. There are simpler methods. So why I say positioning is key is instead of going out and chasing these customers, especially if you're new, you have to do the opposite. You have to get them to see your company as the way, like the only way. Like this company is legit. Because when they do that, when you meet them in person, they don't think about it. They just don't. Why? Well, because you're positioning, right? It's like when you go to the doctor, you went and found the doctor, right? And when that doctor has it looks like a reputable, brand, right? And you meet the doctor comes in, looks presentable, has a white lab coat on. Are you thinking like, hey, are you actually a doctor? Or, you seem new. I mean, when's the last time you asked a doctor or a dentist, how long have you been doing this? The answer for, I believe, 99% of you watching this is no, you don't. No one does, because of the positioning. So if you position this correctly, which, I'll cover that on another training, but if you do that correctly, you will 100% not need to worry about being new. All right. So, by the way, my voice is a little raspy. Apologies on that, but this is, we're covering some heavy topics here because I want you to understand this. I want you to wrap your mind around it and have full confidence. By the way, if you're liking this style of video, hit that like button and let me know below you want to see more of these, or if you want to see me going back to all the crazy edits and every 5 seconds the screen changes, I can make those too. It's fine. All right. So, systems for sustainable growth. Like I said, if we're targeting these bigger clients and we are setting ourselves apart in terms of how we position our brand, you're going to have people coming to you. Okay. So it's going to make this thing very predictable, and it's not going to make it easy, but it's going to make it simple. Okay. We always want simple. Simple's good. Anything posing as easy is a scam. Run away. Okay. So one thing we're going to do, especially in the beginning, is once we've positioned ourselves correctly, we're going to use referrals. Like, it makes no sense to do any high level marketing. It makes no sense at all. You have to really channel your energy, channel your effort. So if your brand is right, it's going to be so easy to get referrals, like even from your job, like from people you may not need to know anyone who has a business, but I guarantee you know someone who knows someone who knows someone. And believe me, it's a fast path to cash, and it's a great way to get your first 1 to 2 clients. I also have plenty of videos on how to get your, step-by-step for how to get your first clients. But again, I just want to wrap your mind around it. I want confidence. If you're confident, you're much more likely to succeed. All right. The next thing is, optimizing, profitability over volume. What's good revenue? What's bad revenue? Well, what I realized in the beginning, I was chasing anyone who will have me. And I'm like, I didn't have that 4-quarter logic, so to speak, or 10 dimes logic, let's say. I was like 100 pennies. It doesn't matter. Penny, nickel, quarter. My goal is to get to, I want to build a 7-figure cleaning business. I want to free my wife from ever working a 9 to 5. And, I want to build something great. So at the time, I didn't care how many customers that took. What I cared about was getting customers. And what I learned was I was not focused on profitability. I was focused on doing volume. And volume is just, you're going to spin your wheels. And for a lot of people, unfortunately, they end up burning out. Or you end up targeting the bottom of the barrel customers who are just looking for a cheap bid. They don't care about anything else. No. The clients we're after, they value peace of mind. It's not to say that they don't have a budget, but because of the locations we go after, the budget's, it's already accounted for. All right. So this is quickly here, managing without micromanaging. Hiring employees, it's a lot simpler than you think if you've never done it before. It was something that used to intimidate me. I'm like, wait a minute, I've never led a team before. How do I do this? But what you end up finding out is that it's such a low stress position. It's such low stress work. It's never something you're going to lose sleep over. At least, I've had some tough days in business, but I've never, not over an employee. I've never lost sleep over it. So it's simple stuff. All right. Now let's get to the next major pillar of this. And that is, I want to wrap your mind around the idea of, how do we make sure that you don't build a business while you have a great job and just create another job? Well, a lot of what I listed above is going to make sure you do that. But specifically, I want I want to drill down on this idea of asset versus job. When you have this like, oh, I'm starting a business and, it's like another job, it's just going to require a lot from me. It's not to say that in itself can be untrue. The truth of the matter is if you have a streamlined approach, it doesn't have to be several hours every day. It could just be 1 to 2 hours. I know that sounds like goobly glop from an online guy, but it's the truth. If you just imagine, if you knew exactly what you needed to do, right? It's like that situation where two people have 13 hours to chop a tree down, and they both have dull axes, right? And one goes straight for the tree and is chopping for the whole 13 hours to finally get the tree down. But the first person goes to sharpen their axe. When they sharpen their axe, when they go to get the tree, by the time they get to the tree, it takes them 4 hours. So it's like, even though they took an hour to sharpen their axe and another 4 hours to chop the tree down, they did it in 5, whereas the next person did it in 13. The point I'm making is, if you have this kind of like grind mindset, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be a little bit too much of a something where you tell yourself that you need to put in 30 hours, you need to do the cleaning, you've got to be a perfectionist. When in reality, the mindset that's going to serve you the most is going to be that asset. Looking at this business like it's an asset, not being emotionally attached to it. You could be emotionally attached to your people. I am, but you don't have to be attached to, just everything has to be perfect all the time. This is an asset, okay? All right, so, many cleaning business owners create another 9 to 5 for themselves, which, it's just going to put you in the weeds. It burns you out, and then it makes you think this isn't a good business. Now, I see this all the time. Half of my clients are former residential cleaning business owners who have, let's say they're doing $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, but they have hundreds of clients, or not hundreds, but they'll have like 100 clients, or 80 to 120, and it's a lot. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work, and ultimately, it's just something that just, I don't know. It makes them say, I want commercial. I'd rather have 5 clients. I would kill to have 5 clients over trying to please 95 clients. All right. Now, touched on that. All right. So next thing is, how do we create the true business ownership? And that is designing your business so it can eventually run without you. The way we run it without you is with mainly 2 key hires. And once those 2 key hires are at capacity, then we're going to hire more of those key hires. So essentially, you need someone who's local in the field, and then you just need someone who is not in the field because it's just not important. So the 2 main key hires are, it's going to be a manager at night to ensure quality control. It's also going to protect you from ever having to do the cleaning. And then that second hire is going to be a virtual assistant. Okay, you're going to pay somebody overseas. You're going to give them a great job. You're going to see you're going to employ local, but you're also going to employ overseas. The reason why we do that is you can find some excellent talent in other countries and pay $4 to $5 an hour. And for them, it's actually a good salary. It's like a really solid salary. And if you had that position here, that's someone you're probably easily paying $20 to $25 an hour, which is, you tell me, what would you rather be paying for, 40 hours of 5 an hour or 40 hours of, 25 an hour? From this type of model, everything I'm telling you, it's all about staying lean and mean. You want a business that ultimately is going to just make you not have to leave your 9 to 5 unless you really want to. The goal is get your 5 high ticket office clients and then leave your 9 to 5 because of the recurring revenue. And then again, in time, get your 6th, your 7th, your 8th. That's the model. That's what works so well for my people. Because we're really starting with thinking about this from a business owner perspective, not the perspective of, oh, I need money. Let me start a cleaning gig. Let me do some cleaning on the side. I'm not knocking that hustle, but I am saying it's a different model. So I have to be clear there. Thinking about your exit strategy. So every business owner, they're always thinking about their next moves. There's a great book on this by Patrick Bet-David, Your Next 5 Moves. It's 100%. You as a business owner, you do want to think steps ahead. So even if you've never done this before, how do you stay steps ahead? Well, you think about it. You try to think about what your goals are. Are your goals to free your spouse from their 9 to 5, like mine was? is another goal for then you to be free after that, so you can be with your children more? Is like, so what's it going to take to get there? All of those questions, like all of those moves, you have to get that down. Like, you don't have to know everything, but you have to know where you're going ultimately with this business. Because if you can nail that, it makes this business really fulfilling. It just makes sure you're not spinning your wheels. It puts you in this position where, I mean, it puts you in a power position, okay? Because you're on a mission and you know what you want. That makes this business really predictable, because then you could say, like, I know 5 offices recurring, that's my freedom number. Or, let's say 3 offices, that's my wife's freedom number. 5 offices is my freedom number. 7 offices is we're vacationing 3 times a year. Do you see what I'm saying? I hate to sound overly simplistic, but I am wanting to, like, drill this point home that you have to switch the mindset, okay? Even if you're new to it, that's totally fine. Baby steps, but this is what I want to really, really impress upon you. If that's making sense, I want you to comment makes sense, because if you're watching at this point, you are definitely someone who's absolutely legit. Most people are not going to watch a video like this because they consider it boring. They need thousands of edits. But I could assure you, doing this for as long as I've been doing it, serious people watch videos like this. And that's why I'm actually really enjoying this right now, and I hope you are too. All right, so we talked about the exit strategy. That's another thing too. What do you want to do long term? Do you want to? You could franchise this thing one day. You could sell it one day. Move to, a remote island with your family. I don't know. I'm just saying, always have your next moves in mind. Always look at this like an asset, because assets you can actually sell. See, this is not a liability. A liability is a car. Well, that's actually, I don't want to get into a debate about that, but that's how I look at it, right? An asset is going to be putting money into your pocket, in your family's bank account every single month. That's the way to look at it. All right. So treat it like it's an asset. It's going to take you a lot farther. All right. So once you do that and you establish a team that can operate independently, meaning, let's say you have 2 or 3 managers, let's say you have 1 VA. The back end person is going to handle all like the day-to-day. Oh, what if I get an email? What if there's a new lead comes in? Proposals, all that, they can handle all of that. And then as far as front end, your manager is going to shield you from any cleaning. Your manager is going to take care of like picking up supplies, dropping supplies off. This is like these 2 key positions. Like, I've really built like a lean model here that helps you stand back. And it's a beautiful thing when you're able to stand back away from your business so you could absolutely thrive. All right. It's like, this is the method to avoid all burnout. This is the method to just avoid a lot of nonsense. All right. You're going to deal with better clients. They're going to pay up front. They're going to stay with you for the long haul. And, because you have a brand set up, everything's set up, you get to go at a nice pace. So, all right. Conclusion and next steps. First things first. Keep this simple business simple. That's what you just have to do. You have to keep a simple business simple. And a way to do that is strip it down, right? Position yourself like a go-to expert, okay? Which, again, I have more videos on that, but it's more high level. The next thing is, how are you going to get your customers? I would say start with referrals. Okay, start with people you know. I promise you, even if you're someone who says you've never done it, I have clients that come to me and they're like, Mike, I don't know anyone. I don't have any friends like that. And then I work with them, and then all of a sudden, in one case, somebody pulls a $13,000 school out of their back pocket, or somebody gets a dealership for $3,400 a month. And the point is if you may have never done it before, but I promise you, there's people that could put you in touch to get the money. All right. And as far as the getting cleaners, that's simple as Indeed. Try not to look for anyone who's done cleaning before. Try to look for somebody who's just got a really great job, because they're going to be super stable, and they're going to stay with you for a really long time. And just try to think, my first few cleaning hires, I'm looking ultimately for a manager. All right. And then the next thing is, just honestly, taking it account by account. If you take it account by account, you're never going to get overwhelmed. You're going to just keep it really, really, really simple. All right. So I'm talking to specifically the people who have been thinking maybe you're new to this model, or maybe you're new to cleaning altogether. Maybe you've been thinking about starting a business for a long time. I want to challenge you to take some steps, because I'm telling you right now for a fact, there is no perfect time. It's never going to happen. It's like, sometimes you talk to people and they're just like, maybe in a couple years I'll have a little bit more freedom, or maybe this, or maybe I just got to save more, or maybe when I get a little less distracted. Listen, I'm telling you right now, there's never a bad time to add an asset to your life. That's been my experience. That's why I'm constantly building. I'm constantly looking to grow, excuse me, because there's never a bad time for an asset. All right. If you're looking at this business, anything other than an asset, if you're looking at it as just going to be more work, if you're looking at it as like a fast cash grab for like $2,000 a month, yes, that I would 100% wait a year on, 2 years, maybe never even do it at all. But a cash flowing asset that could free you, if you're married, free your partner, get you more time. If you're a parent with your kids, it's hard to beat this model, guys. It's really, really difficult. All right. So I want you to comment below what questions you have. And I want to talk to you specifically if you want a step-by-step guide for setting up your cleaning business for passive income without wasting time and money, then apply to work with me below. My team is going to help you get your cleaning started, profitable, and off the ground. Okay. You're going to have a cleaning business that is running, even if you are completely brand new, been doing this for the last 5 years, and we take great care of our people. All right. So don't feel rushed. If this is something new to you, maybe watch some more of my videos so you see how, I am. You see if I'm even somebody you want to take advice from. But for those of you who feel like I've seen enough, book a call, chat with my team. Let's see if we can help you. All right. For everyone else, watch the next video right here. Peace out, Cub Scouts.